Frannie Shroyer. I've lived in Germantown and been part of the parish for about 41 years. And you won't find a better parish anywhere. One thing I would like to say, Father Lee is so good with helping your bereavement. He is just, I think that's his thing. You know, everybody has their different, but he is so good with people to, you know, talk to you after, you know, after a loss. He was great when he did my mom's funeral. So my dad and I used to go to morning mass up at church with Father Hurley. The parish center was there still, and that's where we had mass. He lived upstairs, and downstairs was the little chapel that we would go to mass. So of course we got to know him because we were there all the time. And he was a stickler about people being on time. When he was when he was preaching, it was the law. You know, no ifs, ands, or buts. You knew what God's message was. And I think people that, you know how Jesus came not for the righteous, but for the sinners?
Yes.
I'm going to cry all the time because I loved him so much. People that were like the righteous ones didn't need to hear
His message.
And they didn't understand that he had the biggest shoulder in the world.
Wow.
One-on-one, you know? And so he was funny, you know, he was remarkable. I think I told you about after they had opened Father Hurley Boulevard, and they would on the radio announce that, you know, Father Hurley was backed up, and he would always say, "No, I'm fine. Everything's good," you know. I mean, he was a character. He was smart, you know, and funny, and the reason I guess I saved all of this stuff is because I knew that he was going to be a saint. That he is. Because he saved my dad's life, which I'll never forget. My dad was alcoholic, and we were talking to him, my brother and I have lots of brothers and sisters, but basically the two of us, more one-on-one, and said, "Dad, you know, you gotta, this can't go on, you know, we need you, you've gotta." And so Dad said, "Well, tell Father Hurley, you know." And I told Father Hurley, and Father Hurley says, "No, he needs to talk to me personally." And so my dad was out here, he called him up, he put him on hold, and he got him in Ashley rehab, and that was in, was it 1983? But it's the same message that I hear from Father Lou and the other priests today. It's the same, and that's the great thing. It's always been about God. It's always been about Jesus. It's always been about, you know, how we can help, how we can, you know, what we can do, how they can help us to be closer to God. And it's always been the same message, and I think that's the most important thing, because despite who came, it was always about, you know, the Mass and about God. And I think that's probably the most important thing, because people have come and gone. I've come and gone and come back, you know, and I know other people that have come and gone, but you come back and you still hear the same message, and that's life, truth, you know, Jesus. That's what it's all about. And Father Lou saved my soul, and I know other people that have said the same thing. And so we've got some miracle workers here. 50 years from now, I would bet if you went to Mother Seton 50 years from now, that you would still hear the same message.
Which is?
That Jesus preached. If you love him and God above all things, and your neighbor as yourself, and they'll help you do it. You know, they'll give you the tools, they'll tell you how, they will talk about the Beatitudes, they'll talk about the Gospels, they'll talk about the epistles, and they'll talk about what's made the Catholic Church stay as solid as it is. And I would think, because this is 50 years later, I've been here 41, and like I said, it's amazing, it's still the same message. And that's I think the most important thing, where other churches, I love the way Father Lee described the church one day. He said, the church is God, and then the church is from God. And all of these other people are branching out because they want to do their own thing. I don't want to do it quite God's way. I kind of want to do it my way. I want to do it my way. And that's the great thing about the Catholic Church, is that we've got one leader, we've got one message. Jesus rose from the dead. He's still with us. The Holy Spirit's with us. And hopefully God's walking with us too. And we have our angels, we have our saints. And it was funny, I asked Father Lou one time I go, well, I pray to Mother Seton, I pray to St. Jude, I pray to all these different, how do you, work that out, And he goes, just think of it as your prayer team. I go, well, that makes sense, because I don't want to cause any trouble up there, You guys do your thing, and plus I'm Sodality, so Mary's in charge of everything, and logistics for her must be a nightmare, But, so we're just, I just think the church is just the rock.